Yo, man, what's good, man? This is Easy Child Podcast with your one and only host, Glory Boy back at again here with another video. We got a special guest in the house. I'm gonna let her introduce herself because this is about to be a banger. We're just gonna have two different point of views. It's always me, and today we have someone else. And yeah, go ahead and tell them who you are.
Hello, everybody. What's good? My name is Clementine. You might know me from one of his other videos. If you don't, hello. Like, comment, subscribe, and let's get my bro lit. Yeah.
Yep. You like that? Boom.
Boom.
Yeah, man. Let's go. Let's just jump straight into the video. Let's go.
Political correspondent, and we are here today to talk about some of the biggest issues dividing women across the country. In other words, we're here to talk about feminism. First, I just want to say we know we can't represent everybody's views, but we did try our best to bring together a diverse group of women today. In today's polarized world, is feminism dead? I saw your hand.
I think that depends on the definition of feminism. I strongly think that feminism is more of an action than an identity. I would say it's uplifting all women, in which case it's very alive. At the same time, if we do follow that definition, feminism has splintered off into so many different areas that you can look at people like Sheryl Sandberg who say you should just get another nanny if you feel oppressed. And if we're talking about that kind of feminism, yeah, it's pretty dead.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the human race exists, feminism will never be dead. There's something that we're always going to have to strive and work towards to make sure that there's equality. So feminism is not dead.
I don't know that it can die. As long as there's power and oppression, there will be people fighting for equity. And until that somehow goes away, feminism is alive and well.
I think feminism isn't actually about equality. It's about equality when it benefits us. I think feminism, it's really about women wanting special privileges and treatment at the expense of men often. And I think it's alive and well, sadly.
I think feminism is also alive and well. There are different kinds of feminism, right? Like, that is obvious. And for me, as a womanist, as a Black feminist, right, as someone who's really thinking about human rights, dignity, right, equity, right, as long as that need isn't met, we're still gonna keep fighting.
I'd say it's alive and well. I'd say that it's also very nuanced, and I think what it looks like is gonna differ depending on where you are in the world. For me, I just see it as a lens, which isn't necessarily antagonistic or protagonistic. It's just a useful tool.
Similar to what Pearl just said, I find that a lot of feminist ideology and thought today feels more of like a supremacist movement rather than something that is supposed to be advancing the goals of equality. I don't think that we can really term what's going on as feminism because it looks so different to, I think, the earlier feminist movements. So in that way, I would say it's taken its last breaths of life. It's dying.
Yeah, I definitely think it's getting more and more radicalized, for sure. So it's definitely still alive.
I think I'll preface and say that I don't know so much about modern Western feminism, and there might be a lot of terms that I don't know, like political jargon and stuff. But I believe in the advancement of women, whoever considers themselves a woman. I think there's a deficiency in society. So it's deeply rooted that feminism has always existed. I think America's a little obsessed with themselves, and it's like always feminism is rooted in America. And like, oh, white women started it. And it's kind of offensive because for thousands of years, women have been dying for their rights.
I think as a Black woman specifically, when you talk about feminism, yeah, the mainstream first thing you think about is a certain type of feminism that tends to exclude still, even today, even with intersectional feminism, exclude African-American women, and it's always kind of done that. And also upper middle class white women has predominantly been the face of what we quote unquote consider feminism.
I think feminism is attempting to...
So, I got something to say right there. I mean, as a person with women and gender studies degree, because that was my minor. I feel like Black women wasn't really included in the feminist movements back in the days, just because they were not even above. Like black women were the last people to be included in anything, because black slave men were included. Like they were above the black women. It would be white women, and it would be white men, And a lot of times we kind of like forget the fact that black women had to fight even harder to be part of those movements, because anytime they try to get in those type of movements, they will be pushed. They will be pushed back. And plus, when it came to the time where like now women started realizing if they come together and form that alliance, then it will kind of bring that strength they were looking for, because a lot of women were fighting for rights to vote, rights to go to work. A lot of women didn't want to be housewives and so on. And yeah, we could tell black women were also able to like formulate their own feminist groups. And that's why I kind of agree with the black lady, because the way she kind of said it, she said it in a nice way, but the other woman said, "Oh, I don't think it was about race." Da da da. At first, she started it with like race being the
race plays a big part in the world. Period. Through everything we do, race is the biggest. Yes, but I do agree with what he said, and I also agree with. Honestly, I can agree with what all of them said, because like everything they said was valid, depending on how you look at the stuff, But the lady said something about how it's just like not a trend, but like they're just trying to make it a thing. Feminism would never die as long as there's humans on the earth, like they said. But I feel like even right now, no matter how much we try to push this movement, women are not equivalent to men. That's not my opinion, but that's really how it is. We don't get the same rights as they do. We can't work most jobs like they can. Like we can't do half of the things they think men can do because we're women. We're weaker, or whatever the case is. And it is harder for black women because it's so much stuff that we can't do that white women can do. Like everyone knows that's true, but color plays big in everything we do. Race plays big in everything that we do, no matter who you are. But one thing I don't agree with, and y'all don't be mad, don't say I'm transphobic or whatever. If you're not born a woman, you're not a woman. So when the lady said it goes for all women born or not born, I'm not gonna lie, bro, you're not a woman. That's just my opinion.
Okay, the first thing we agree on is that there are barriers and friction to what I need and what I want based on the fact that I'm a woman. What it ignores is that, and what privilege is that you may not have to think that being a woman and being a black woman and being a black woman who has a disability, for example, impacts you further. You have more barriers, you have more friction, you are less able to get what you want. You're undervalued in a way that's like, okay, well, that's life. That's what I mean by equity, and that we're able to, without friction, all get the same needs met.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, see, I disagree with that. I think life is easier if you're a girl, actually.
Yeah,
I think there's a lot of benefits that men don't have. I'm not going to speak anything to race. I'm just talking about gender specifically. It's usually like an excuse. Like, honestly, I think as a girl, you have equal opportunity in the world. I think there's benefits. Like, for example, we have quotas for women in specific jobs that are given to us that aren't given to men. So yeah, I would say it's easier being a girl.
Just from a viewpoint over here, though, it seems there's a lot of pretty privilege in what you're saying, and that you're white and you present.
Do you think I'm pretty? Thank you.
I think that you present in a way that beauty standards have accepted.
And
so
they call me ugly on the internet all the time. They be roasting me daily, I swear to God.
I don't mean to say I think you're gorge. I just mean that there are a certain value that we give to certain bodies.
I mean, let's also dig into why these quotas exist and why these, what you're calling
because
privileges
we want
exist.
special treatment.
No, it's because there have historically and presently in most jobs been fewer women and because of sexism.
How is it sexism when we have no barriers today? So we can pick what we want to pick.
It doesn't have barriers.
Women don't have barriers?
Women, yeah. What's
We have
stopping
no
you? You can do whatever you want.
I can or you can?
What's stopping you? As a woman.
As a woman.
See,
That ignores a lot. I'm a woman with a disability, so there's a lot.
Why you did this?
Because like what she mean was stopping you as a woman. Society. Like what you mean was stopping you. Why is she acting like that? I think it's like the lady said, white privilege or maybe pretty privilege, because that is a thing. Y'all can't front and say when you prettier, you get things handed to you, or it's easier for you than an average female, because I'm not about to say a ugly female, but when you pretty, everything comes for you easily. But
yeah,
you're white.
I kind of agree with that too. I mean, within workplaces, looks are very much like are a huge advantage. You know, like
not
like
even
woman,
just workplaces though.
Not
in
just
life,
workplace,
period.
in life, yeah.
You
like,
a pretty girl, someone's gonna buy you a drink at the
Exactly,
bar.
at
Like
the
you can
bar.
come into the club for free. If you're not, like they're just
if you're not, they're gonna be like, yo, where the
Right.
money at? You know?
exactly.
Yeah, that's crazy though.
Amy, that you don't have to think about.
Well, as I
You don't
said
have to
before, I'm
think about.
speaking about women. I'm not.
You're speaking you're speaking for yourself.
You're speaking as
an able-bodied white woman.
woman.
I
that is
understand.
white.
Represents white.
Of course, there's going to be other barriers if you're disabled. I'm sure. Like I'm talking about as a woman.
So you're
I
just
would
going to
agree.
ignore
White
the
women
pay
have it
gap.
easier. Yes, I would agree.
What?
You're just going to ignore the pay gap, regulation over bodies.
The pay gap has been disproven
the
and
pay gap doesn't
endlessly,
exist.
my friend.
It doesn't.
That's so funny.
It's the industries that women pick.
Let's talk about it.
There's a pay gap, but it's because women don't want to do the hardest industry.
Women do not have it easier. For
Why
example,
you say that?
at my job that I'm working at, right? They let most of us go for right now until they can bring things. They just working with like I work in a like a factory type place. So right now they need men who can work on machines because it's too much for us. So while they're over there working, we're just waiting for them to call us back to work on simple things that don't require us to lift weight and do all that. But it's so many females that can do so much. It's females that do more than men can. And I feel like that's weird because gender does have a big part in everything that we do. Like just because you're a female, you're pretty, whatever, that doesn't mean you get it easier. Whoever said that, you're wrong. In my opinion, it's not a fact, it's an opinion, but I don't believe that. I feel like for women, it's harder, period. There's so much things that they feel like we can't do because we're women and we're looked on to be weak and, you know,
Yeah,
I don't agree with that. No, it's hard.
I don't think it's that simple. I think that's an oversimplification. I think the fact of the matter is that women structure their lives differently to men. Men don't give birth. Men don't have to carry pregnancies. Men don't have to be the primary caregiver most of the time. Women also don't hold jobs for as long as men do. They often will stop and start. They'll go back into work. They'll take time off. They'll take part-time jobs. The way that men work and women work are astronomically different. And to try to say that they're comparable is where this issue comes from. They're not comparable.
Two things. First of all, let's dig into why they think that they should take these jobs, which is societal sexism. And then also, Department of Labor, all statistics, at least speaking in the US, have found that when compared for the same jobs, there still is a pay gap, particularly when it pertains to race.
Because 60% of women have never asked for a raise. So how can you complain about your pay if you don't ask?
Why are they not?
Wait, what happens when women ask for a raise?
Sorry, I've been wanting to say something, but I want to be respectful. I don't want to interrupt people, and I want to let them finish their thoughts.
Jump in,
But you know,
go
it's
through the
just
wall.
it is a very privileged label, right? To be able to say that you're feminist, right? And I say that because I come from a working class background of Dominican immigrant parents. My mother would not necessarily identify as a feminist. I look to my mother, and I do think of her as a feminist. A lot of my ideas and my empowerment comes from seeing her survive and put food on the table. When I'm thinking about feminism, I'm always thinking about who's not part of the conversation. What are the barriers? How do we think about equity? How do we think about self-empowerment and agency and having a voice, right? And having choice and thinking about our basic human rights, education, access to health, homes, like having bread, having food, and those things are very important, right? And they're at the crux, right, of what a lot of us here know that we need. It's like there are the barriers, right, that we constantly ignore that are very much systemic and microaggressive, right? We see them and experience them every day.
Like what in the U.S.?
So,
like what?
What would you like to know an example of?
I know you said that there's like barriers. I want to know what barriers in the U.S. today as a woman.
Well, as a woman or as a woman of color? Let's be specific.
As a woman, I said as a woman.
Well, no, I can't answer as a woman.
I
'cause I'm
just feel
not
like your
a woman,
question is
right?
kind of hostile when you're like, there are no barriers to what I want. Congratulations. That means you have a privilege where you're not facing any friction, and that's showing. And I feel like it's
I think
like
I think as an American, you're very privileged. Like,
I'm not ignoring that.
Or like a basic level of what the feminist movement is when it comes to just.
Do you think as an American you're very privileged?
No.
What you said?
This is not the land of the free.
It's not the land of the free.
No.
I just think compared to other countries, I feel like a lot of women in America are so lucky to be here. Like feminist movements, you can't really discover them in any other parts of the world just like that. You know,
because they're louder.
No, it's not. I'm saying in America, the Constitution, everything, history, like backs them up, you know. But like, let's say India, let's say some place in the Middle East. A lot of women don't usually.
It's harder for them.
Exactly. So
like some women can't even go outside without a male. I don't know if that's still a thing, but I know
it's still a thing somewhere.
Yeah,
some parts of the world.
But I don't feel like just being American gives you more freedom. I mean, to an extent, like we get more freedom than them, but it's also a religious purpose behind that with them. Like just because they're in the Middle East, they're also like Muslims who have like this bigger, like, you know, everything they do is different from what we do. They're more strict. That also, they have to be covered up. They have to act a certain way. They have to be a certain way. It's mad women from the Middle East that can't do what we do, and they're scared to speak up. I seen a movie. It was based on a true story. This Arabian lady, she got killed because she was accused of doing something with a man and that she didn't. All because the man tried to do something with her. They didn't take her side because she was Middle Eastern and you're supposed to be a certain way. You can't interact with other men in a certain way unless it's your husband or, you know, whatever the case is. And they stoned her to death. She died because of that. Why? Because a man said that she did something that she didn't do because she wouldn't give it up. It's stuff like that.
That's crazy. That's what I'm saying. In America, they kind of have the little leverage.
Like we have a little bit, but but saying the statement, being an American, you have more freedom or whatever she said, no.
No. She but she gotta say it in a better way.
Yeah, maybe if she would have said, got more in depth with it, then it makes sense. But saying period point, no.
Being born a woman, right? Physically, pound for pound, we are born as women and we have less lean muscle mass than men. So there are issues of violence and assault and stuff like that. And so therefore, there are policies, there are things to help women physically, like, for example, I believe being able to carry a firearm and being able to use that safely to defend yourself against men who are born naturally with more muscle mass than a woman.
I keep hearing the term equity. What would a world that has equity look like? Like, would it be 50% of everyone in the same jobs? Would it be like prison, 50%? That's
equality.
50%. So what does equity look like?
So equity is generally described as a state of fairness because historically a lot of people have been arguing for equality. But what does that give us? Like 0.5 of the 1% being women. This doesn't really do anything for us. And so people have talked about equity instead, which is instead of sameness, it's fairness. And this would mean that we remove systemic barriers to engage in society, not just for women, but also for everyone.
So which barriers?
Those barriers that you don't believe in.
What does it do for you to have a bunch of ramps in your life? It doesn't do shit. I need those ramps, right?
Can we stick to male versus female? That's my question. So I'm thinking male versus female.
But my feminism includes ability, it includes
my
race.
Question is
you guys can talk.
Women versus men. Like what barriers do we need removed? Because that's my statement. I'm not stating anything else. I'm stating women versus men.
It's very silly.
Like so what barrier?
Why is it silly?
It's a fair
question.
So,
it's not a fair question. It's
how is it not a fair question?
Kind of proving the point of what people, especially Black women, other people who are anybody who's not white, why we hear feminism and we don't want that label because it means, I'm just gonna say, it means that. Like it means that you're you've already gotten to a pinnacle of whatever you think
She's
your
not gonna
happiness
get
needs or
canceled.
whatever your survival needs are when there are people
Woman, you gotta
on
watch what you
lower
say.
end who
Exactly.
are trying to
Being a
survive
black
or trying
woman.
to get to a point of what should be normal. Based on what other people have.
It sort of sounds like you're saying feminism is not always inclusive then.
Right.
It's most of the time it's not inclusive. It's more times than not it's not. So and within the just feminism space, again, there obviously the very basic is male versus female versus, but unfortunately, we've only had one subset of women be the face and voice and the academics and research and everything to be able to say, well, that's the standard we need to be in, when there are other people who are still trying to get to some type of normalcy and just living.
What is the biggest issue then that feminism faces?
I think it's the mindset. Women taking like the agency, women taking initiative. I think it's mindset holding them back a lot, because if you want to be in a competitive world and compete, you have to have the right mindset. And I think a lot of people blame their lack of confidence or what society tells them for the reason that they're not achieving what they need to achieve, when that's not the case. You have to have the mindset of achieving, because the men who built the world had the mindset of building it. So the women who want to engage and build that further, they need to have that same mindset.
I don't think we do. I think that's like assuming that we all want to be capitalist babies.
Right.
I think that men are not well adjusted in the society and women are not trying to re-embody what they have built for us. I think that like what we're forgetting is a very
I think I missed something.
Disagree with that?
I disagree with the notion that men are well adjusted in this society.
Why do you disagree?
I think men are hurting in this society more so than...
Especially black men.
Especially black men.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't think from what she said that, men have it all, given to us and like they have it easier than women, as in, I think, one, we have a harder time to do well in school compared to women, you know what I mean? So they can move up the ladder when it comes to education more so than women, because men have more options, as in they can do more, hard skill, or men in the labor mostly than women. But yeah, back to, the question of do man and woman have it equal? I mean, I say yes. I say in modern times, women have been giving a lot more like, privilege, as in, hey, we fucked up in the past, so therefore it's giving you, all this freebies. But what comes with that is more competition for, I guess, men, and they don't know how to compete with women, or, vice versa.
Do you honestly believe that?
I mean, he said what he said, man.
Like, do you?
I think men struggle with school, and that's part.
Okay, so speaking about school, okay,
school.
but life period.
Life is different. I'm talking about school.
Okay. When it comes to school, maybe I wouldn't know.
More women are going to college than men nowadays. Men are dropping off.
But another reason is because women, they have to fight harder to do more in life,
also,
because it's not.
Women have an easier time following directions and instructions than men do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially in a school setting, like men do not want to be like sitting in a classroom, just like looking up, like they're fidgeting. They want to be outside. They want to play games.
But is that a man thing or is that just a people's thing?
I feel like it's a man thing. Like men are just more like he just said, we want to be able to just start doing something. We don't for example,
want to tell what to do.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a female. I don't like being told what to do. So I'm saying, like, is that a man thing or is that a people's thing?
But all right, if you put a white girl in the education system and you tell her this is what you gotta do, blah blah blah, as in like go to school, get this.
But white people have more privileges than us. Period. So that's not even a.
It's more complicated than what I'm stating right now. As in, it's not black and white. But I'm just speaking from my own experience.
Okay.
And what I've observed.
Right.
Okay.
in detail, which is just like human respect and dignity.
Yeah,
and not asking people to prove what their experience is and to prove to you. Like, it is like such conservative thinking to say, like, I don't understand, explain it to me, versus just saying, I don't understand and let me respect what you are saying.
I'm respecting
right?
wherever your starting point. I'm respecting that. I'm really respecting that. I'm saying that if you don't have the mindset you can even achieve it, you're never going to even try. So it's
but
never...
achieve what? Like, what are we talking about? Because I feel like you've projected this, like, capitalist ideology on every woman.
Achieve whatever it is you're looking for, equality, equity. But what I'm saying is women in the feminine...
Yo, this lady right here, all right?
This one or the other one?
This one right here.
Okay.
It's like, before, when the debate started, she said, oh, I'm not really I don't really know much about feminism, modern feminism, so I'm just here to learn. Da da da. And she's telling this other woman that didn't even say that, oh, you're supposed to be asking questions, just so you can know this and that, you know. And she's kind of being a little off, you know. Like, she's supposed to be the one actually learning, because she said that from the jump. That's just my opinion on that. Like, you know, she gotta shut up.
She is kind of a little angry though.
For
She
what?
getting them. She attacking.
For what?
Space in a lot of these other spaces, we don't acknowledge that we have to take the initiative. We have to take the action. We have to have the mindset. We have to demand those things.
I don't understand how we're getting so off topic. This is about feminism today, whereas everybody wants to make this about their individual, here are all the multitude of other things that factor into my person. Great. This is about feminism. It's about womanhood. I understand that all of you have your own individual experiences and the other things that feed into you as a person. That's perfectly fine. But this is where intersectionality falls off the planet and loses, I would argue, probably the vast majority of people, including me. I'm not even a feminist. I don't give a crap about feminists arguing amongst themselves about who's the most victimized. But this is annoying to listen to. I honestly I don't understand anything anybody's even trying to get at.
Look, I just want to say that I don't think equity and this concept of competition can't coexist with each other. Equity is building more facilities for people who need them. It is recognizing that there are holes in the market and there's opportunities for women and feminine expansive people and meeting those opportunities. I think equity can buoy the pre-existing system that we live in a good way.
And this is where we're going to get to what I think the real feminist arguments are based off of policy. And abortion is the biggest one.
How many of you would identify as pro-choice? Let's do a show of hands for pro-choice.
I feel like pro-choice is pro-life, though.
Yeah.
Okay, and folks who identify as pro-life? Why do you identify as each?
You've gone from legal, safe, rare to
Folks who identify as pro-life? Why do you identify as each?
You've gone from legal, safe, rare to, yeah, I'm so proud.
Do you identify yourself as pro-life?
I don't even know what the fuck just happened.
No, pro-life is like
pro-life, as in I'm
like when
pro-life.
it comes to like abortion and everything. Like, are you stand for pro-life or nah? Like,
honestly,
pro-life.
I feel like it's your
pro-life,
body.
you know
Do
what
what
that
you
means
want to
again?
do. What? Give me the definition.
Pro-life is like you disagree with abortion, basically.
yeah.
Oh nah, I don't disagree.
You don't disagree with
Because
abortion.
no, I don't disagree. I feel like as a woman, you should be able to do whatever you want with your body. You're a baby.
So, but then the whole argument with that, the whole pro-life argument is that like you should let them have the choice as in to abort.
Yes, you should. Okay, so am I pro-life?
You're pro-life, so you don't agree.
Because I agree that they should be able to kill it if they need to. So am I not pro-life?
That's not pro-life.
Okay, so I'm not pro-life.
That's not pro-life.
I would say like what's the other term?
This pro-life.
Pro-abortions. Let's go.
Pro-life means you don't say abortion. My bad.
Yeah,
Pro-abortion. No, because
You're
listen.
pro-life.
Because listen.
Yeah.
Things happen.
You said that
Yeah,
before.
you don't agree with them.
Listen,
Yeah.
things happen. Women get raped. Women like. Let's just let this video go because things happen.
To, yeah, I'm so proud. Let me beatbox in front of a Planned Parenthood. Yeah, I got murder on my mind. The fact that it's celebrated that murdering children, especially in late-term pregnancies, is celebrated, that people are so proud of themselves for mutilating a fetus is just, it blows my mind. And I don't think that you need to be pro-life to even take that stance.
You said late-term pregnancy.
Yes.
A lot of abortions do not happen.
I made
in
the
late-term
distinction.
pregnancy.
I made the distinction
Right.
specifically because
Right.
lots of people still celebrate. There are people who, when the laws were passed, actually here in New York, they said, yes, great, yes, I love the
Right,
fact
but
that.
you need to ask about what are people celebrating, right? They're celebrating access.
Well,
We're not
well, that's
celebrating
okay.
killing kids. Like that's
But
not what
then
it
why-
is.
well, so this is what I'm
So
saying.
like,
When-
here's the thing: when we're talking about access to reproductive health and to abortion rights, right, and to being pro-choice, listen, that's your body. You do you.
The child
If
is
you
not your
decide-
body. As I go.
a baby. It's so scary for me to hear people calling like guns the biggest equalizer for women, but taking their choices away from them at a policy level. Why is that? Having a gun is an equalizer. It is. Having rights is an equalizer. Yeah, that's having right. Choice is an equalizer. Just like a gun right. And in this country, 41 forms the of birth policies control. That are pushed 41. To continue perpetuating patriarchy and anti-women, like taking the autonomy away from women, it is heartbreaking to see.
You say what?
I do not understand how having guns is an equalizer. I think it probably is in the sense of like giving it to a woman to protect themselves, but I don't agree with like.
Yeah, she didn't make sense right there. Having guns, there's no such a thing as being equal rights or whatever. Like anybody can get a gun,
right?
A man or a woman. There's a lot of women at ATL, Atlanta. They carry guns 24/7.
Yeah,
bro.
but the question is like, who commits the most, like, what do you call it, mass murder, right? Men. So having guns is not an equalizer.
Yeah, it's not equalizer.
I felt like that had nothing to do with the argument.
That had nothing to do.
She's just angry.
She's just mad. Yeah,
she's been angry this whole video.
Her emotions.
Don't give her a gun.
Stuff where she believes having a gun, is an equalizer. So I think that's more of a personal thing than it is.
Right. Like again, that's her opinion, but I don't agree.
Pushing that propaganda. No, it's all brainwash. Like you.
Oh, it's brainwash because you don't agree with me.
No,
so
because I've been brainwashed. I have lived deeply institutionalized. Man, I have lived under Islam. I'm not interested in any of that. Like, there's no like.
You're not interested in human.
No, I'm not interested in like
living.
Thinking that like women are doing this really bad thing. Like in my religion, abortion is actually allowed. If the woman needs it, she's allowed because it's very interesting how like. Fundamental America is like fundamentalist.
This is nothing to do with like even religion. This is very basic thinking. Scientific human rights.
We're also talking about people not having access to abortion clinics where they're doing the things themselves and they die, right? We're also talking about women in the hospital who are pregnant, who have chosen to stay with their pregnancy and have issues at hospitals, and hospitals that are like, oh no, we don't do that. Listen, for whatever reason, you don't need to explain it to anybody, but a lot of times when we're talking about access to reproductive health, for me, I'm thinking about Black, Indigenous, people of color, particularly women and girls who are working class, who do not have even access to like proper sexual education. It's the oppressive state of saying, I will force you to have a child even against your own will, right? Especially when you're thinking about women and girls who would be forced to have these children who are already living in very traumatized and scarce situations. You want to ask about barriers? That's a barrier right there.
Women in poverty aren't able to access the way that rich women are, and no matter what happens, rich women are gonna keep getting abortions, and people in poverty are gonna not. And the choice, opening it up, the overruling is marginally affecting people of color, people in poverty, way more than people who are going to get access to those abortions.
Actually, incorrect. You're the misquote. There's actually more abortions for people in poverty. It's just at a lower rate.
Why do you... No, seriously? I've been having this weird odor down there for like 3 months.
Not just you. Julie's been having the same thing.
Why do you think that abortion has been so tied up in this feminism conversation?
It's all just social structure set up around bodies. So if not all women are able to have babies, but it's about the barriers and value that we give to these specific bodies, right? And so if abortion happens in a woman's body, that's why this conversation is coming up.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
You said that not all women are able to have babies or pregnancies. Are you saying, meaning like an infertility issue?
A number of reasons. There's all kinds of reasons that not all women are having babies.
Pearl, I saw your hand up. Yeah.
I think women want to sleep around and not have any consequence for it.
Hell yeah, we do.
Yeah!
Yeah, instead of, taking personal accountability and being on birth control, they just want to like do whatever they want.
Bro, what?
What do you think? What do you think on that? Like,
can we get her out this video? Because women just want to sleep around.
The one thing about Pearl is like she's very much like she's straightforward, And what I like about she kind of made a little bit sense.
She's a good conversation starter too.
It's not just women that's sleeping around, it's also women sleeping around wrong men. And also they're sleeping around men who are not going to be able to be there present when they're pregnant and so on. And then they end up going through that trauma, like she said, and then just eliminating the baby, you know.
But either way with that, like I'm not for it because that's just not my character personally. But like, if men can sleep around, why can't women sleep around? If that's what you choose to do with your body, it's your life. Go ahead. But you should still be able to get. You should still be able to do whatever you want. Men don't get pregnant. You can't get an abortion. The most you're gonna deal with is STDs, and that's it.
Yeah, men don't get pregnant.
Exactly.
That's why you have to watch out. Like
that's why they can. But she's saying women just want to sleep around and be able to da da da. Okay, so why can't they? If men can. Aren't they feminists? Aren't they fighting for equality? If men can sleep around, women can sleep around. If that's what you choose to do.
Sleeping around with, and make sure you use some type of protection.
But you can still be offered abortions.
That way you don't face that issue. You know.
Right, but if it happens.
Yeah, things happen. Accidents happen.
Exactly.
Whatever, protection can break, and then boom.
I think it was the fact that she just said women want to sleep around. Like, that's what shocked everybody and made everybody feel some type of way. It's the way she said it and how she said it. But let's be honest, women do want to sleep around. Some women are okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
It almost sounds like you said.
Can I also ask, do you have any care to empower women, or is disempowering women part of your, like, steez?
To see this as shame, insult, guilt, need to be right, okay. Why is it empowering to sleep around?
No,
Why
what
is
I'm
that
saying
empowering?
is, like, I feel like you do, like, take, like, the way you speak on women is very sort of like, women just don't want to do this. Women just don't have this. Women just wanted this. And I wonder why you have so much, like, hatred towards women.
I don't hate women.
Where does that root in? It sounds like you do.
I am a woman.
That doesn't mean you don't have self-hate.
I could be black and still be internalized racism.
Exactly. I'm saying specific things that you're saying, like women don't want to work, women don't want to this, women want to sleep around. Where did you learn these belief systems from?
Because, okay, the question was, why does abortion keep getting brought up? 40% of women that have had abortions have had 2 or more. 40%.
Good for them.
So what does that say to me? That means you're using it as a form of birth control, and they don't track the 60%.
What kind of abortion?
Can you let me finish? They don't track the 60% to say who in the future has abortion. So to me, it's like, why are they dying so hard for abortion? They want to sleep around with no consequences, even though you have 41 forms of birth control.
Who does that benefit? I don't think that benefits women. I think actually that benefits men because it means that men can have.
Yes, we have birth control, but birth control is not no natural substance. Like, that messes up your body. I know women that have been on birth control. Actually, my mom was on birth control. She still got pregnant. Like, she still got pregnant, and that was a crazy pregnancy for her. My friend's been on birth control since we were kids. I personally didn't like that because we were in middle school and they were on birth control, and guess what? They were having sex in like 7th and 8th grade. I wasn't that person.
What?
Yes, girls are having sex young. I have young sisters.
All right. It's a good topic. Why is it the case? Like, why so young?
Because their parents feel like, I'm gonna put my daughter on birth control so she's safe. So she's safe and she. Glory.
What?
I'm so serious. Listen,
7th and 8th grade, bro.
I had a friend.
That's actually true. You know what? I had a
crazy.
quote unquote friend, as in I was in 8th grade, right? And this one girl literally was pregnant.
What?
8th grade, bro.
It's kids in my little sister's middle school. She's a freshman now, and she tells me stories. It's kids in her school. The school goes up to 8th grade. A 7th grader was always bringing her baby to school because she had nobody to watch the baby for her.
That's very common, and I saw
But I feel like even with that, it's like your parents don't talk to you about sex. Kids are scared to talk to their parents. Kids are being peer pressured. Parents are putting their kids on child support on birth control because they want to protect their kids. But I feel like when you do that, you're also telling your kid, like, go ahead and have sex because you're on birth control, you're safe. Why would you feed that into my mind? My parents were telling me, don't have sex, you're gonna go to hell, don't do this, to scare me, but they'd also talk to me. I was not young having sex. I was not thinking about that. I was scared. If anything, I was scared I even had my period. That's not normal. But when your parents push that, like the birth control thing, no, birth control is not natural. Birth control should not, like, For y'all who do it, go ahead, but that's not a natural substance you should be putting in your body. Taking pills, putting the stuff up your arm, like that's not safe. I have friends who got sick worse off of it. They say when you're on your period, you have cramps and you're sick, get on birth control. Why? It's so much natural stuff you could take to reduce the pains and all that. I've been doing it for 23 years. It's no reason. I just don't agree with birth control, and especially at a young age, I'm not with it. But I don't know.
All right, that's good, man. Yo, man, so we're just gonna stop it here. So if you want to continue the video, I'm gonna put the link below for the full video so y'all can finish it up. But yeah, that was it, man. This is Easy Pinch Out Podcast with one and only host, Glory Boy. And thank you to our special guest, Clammy, and our also another special guest in the background. I'm not gonna say the name because he don't want to identify himself. Just for, he's a busy man. He don't like being on camera and stuff. So yeah, appreciate you, man. We out of this bitch. Let's go.
Yay.
That was good, right?
Yeah, that was very good.
Yeah.
Dang, Clem, John, you had a lot of shit to say. That was good.